Hi everyone, welcome to Renee Ruth Music. My name is Renee Ruth, and I just smacked my mic. And this is
Fred Jackson.
Fred Jackson has been doing music with me forever, and so since Chad's not here,
We miss you, Chad.
so much, like in our souls. Having Fred step in, fill in, and I thought it'd be fun to do this podcast, talking a little bit about Fred and his background, because he will be on so much more of the music that's coming.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to write, but he's also been he's on one of the songs from the Pandemic albums, and we're doing live stuff together. So though he works 2 day jobs, we're still hustling the music scene on the side.
Oh yeah.
Because it never dies, and that's
it never stops.
No, and that's because you wanted this like your whole.
Yeah,
tell us about music for you growing up.
I mean, I come from a musical family. I was talking to my cousin the other night. We was like, man, we just can't get it out of our systems, And he's almost 10 years older than me,
For real?
And and he's still performing and everything. But it's just one of the situations where it's literally in my blood. Like I can't stop chasing it. I can't stop pursuing it, something I would truly love. But yeah.
When did you start? So like, when did it start as a kid? Like, so.
As long as I can remember,
Really?
I guess my mom and dad always told me I started like playing beating on things around 2 years old. Okay. So coming from a musical family, it was nothing for them to get me like the little Fisher Price type drum sets, So each Christmas I would get a drum set. And mom and dad used to tell me I'll keep it nice all year until like Thanksgiving, early part of December. I would just beat them up so I can get a new set.
So
I didn't think I did that on purpose. But they said every December, from January to November, it looked brand new. I kept them clean. I didn't beat the drum heads up. I didn't have any dents. That first week of December, I've got duct tape on them.
You went full animal.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they bought me a drum set each year until I was like 6 or 7, and when I first got my first professional drum set. And I still have it to this day.
That one?
And and I'm very like all my music equipment. Don't get me wrong, I'm so young and stupid, but sold some stuff that I shouldn't have sold. But the stuff that holds dear and near to my heart, like my first drum set, I still have. I still got my second drum set. I still have a lot of pieces that I've had ever since I was like maybe 9, 10 years old. That's when my parents started really investing. Like every Christmas, they would just get me something else,
Wow.
to add to my collection. So yeah, like I said, as long as I can remember.
That's so great that you had the support of your parents. Like they were actually your dad was a musician too, right?
Yep. My dad, he plays bass.
Yeah.
And then he, grew up in the church, so he had his gospel quartet group. And so all the professional gospel quartet artists that came into Lynchburg, they was always on the program. So I met like all these, like anyone from the Jackson Southernaires, the William Brothers, Gospel Keynotes, the Valinaires, Canon Spirituals. I mean, you name it, I met them. We've been on stage with them.
Oh, I love that.
Got some free back in the day, again,
Merch.
telling my age, tapes, cassettes, CDs. I got autographs from those guys, man. So it's been a wild musical journey.
These are stories I don't even know. I don't even know. And we've talked a bit about what happened after high school. So you went off to college, and didn't you hold your dad's bass at some point? Remember what holding a bass is?
Yeah. So in college, went to James Madison and started putting together like an R&B hip hop type band. Done a lot with the student organizations where we were doing like spoken word poetry and everything.
Yeah.
So you got to create the vibe. So we had like a little neo soul jazz type band, and then we was like, man, we want to do some gigs ourselves.
Yeah.
So we expanded it and got more musicians, and it ended up having 2 drummers. So I remember going to one practice and we had 2 drummers.
Like 2 kids?
2 kids.
I bet that was fun.
Because and I held it at my house, but I don't think the other drummer knew that there was going to be another drummer. So when I was working, of course, I didn't have the luxury of just going to college and not working.
Neither did I.
No,
neither did I.
So
we have similar upbringing.
Yeah. So I tell my roommates, hey, some musicians going to come through.
Mm-hmm.
Let them in. I get off, maybe 30 minutes after they will arrive, so I can come in and I see like 2 drum sets. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be awesome,
like some heavy metal.
Yeah. So we're kicking off the beat, we're like, and it's like, and I was like, all right. So I was reminded of a story. It's kind of similar to what my dad. So my dad originally started playing the lead guitar.
Okay.
And they would start putting together their musical band or group. I think I don't know if they was doing secular music or they was doing doing the gospel thing, but they ended up having 2 guitars. And so Dad was like, all right, well, no need to having 2 guitars. We don't have a bass player, and we got the drums, so he'll learn how to play the bass. And so as long as I can remember, my dad's hit the mic.
I've done it.
As long as I can remember, my dad has always plays the bass, but that was how he got to playing the bass. So fast forward 20 plus years later or whatever, I'm in the same kind of similar situations, except for it's 2 drummers. And I was like, hey, Dad.
You usually can't find one drummer.
Right. I'm like, hey, Dad, let me get that bass real quick. So he come on up, or I either go down to the house and he's like, well, I can't let you have this one, but you can get this one. I can't get the good one. He'll
you can't hold the good one.
Yeah, I can't hold that one. I can't hold the good one. I can get this one. So I took it, and for 2 years, I gigged with playing bass. So my wife now, but at that time she was, we were just friends. We wasn't even really dating. We were just friends, just hanging out and everything. But she was like hearing stories. So she's like, so you play drums, but you play bass? I don't get it. You don't have no drums. I just see you playing bass. And everyone's like, oh, but he kills it on the drums. But they're like, what? But she bought into it, Next thing you know, I guess when we actually beginning our friendship started to go to another level, then I started hearing her saying like, oh yeah, he's a good drummer. I'm like,
you ain't heard me play. You ain't heard me play the drums.
That's my baby though.
You ain't heard me play the drums. She was proud, Fred. She knew it.
Yeah.
Look, she knew if you could play that bass, you could play the drums.
Exactly.
See, I have never heard. So I'm on the flip. I've never heard you play the bass. I'm hearing these bass stories, and I'm like, we need a bass player right now.
I know, right? I know.
No, because there's like the songs that I sent you that I want to write. Mm-hmm. Like we have some briefs that came through, and I want to write them, and I'm like, why are you not writing the bass line on these things? Because I'm sitting there going, what would a bass line be like for this? Yeah. And then I want like a really cool bass line, and I'm thinking I got to come up with this bass line. And then the other night I'm sitting in the house going, why do I got to come up with this bass line? You know how to play the bass line. Why do you come up with the bass line?
So let me just go ahead and tell you all right now. Me playing the bass is, hey, here are these songs. This is in the key of G. This is in the key of A. This is in the key of C. I'm going to play it just like that. Don't you come up in here talking about, can we go to A flat, or can we change
Can we modulate?
Keys? Yeah. Can we modulate? Nope, because I'm a self-taught player.
He said, I cannot.
Don't.
Change keys. You told me it was C. I learned it in C.
And we're going with C.
Okay, to be fair, that's how I play the piano. They'll be like, Renee, let's do this in G. I'm like, what? I know C. So G, like my brain doesn't.
Yeah.
I want to say conjugate. Like my brain doesn't move that.
Yeah.
But could you come up with bass lines though?
Oh yeah.
You hear bass lines.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So with my dad being a bass player, and I think this is the reason why a lot of musicians and a lot of bands like to hire me, is because when I go to learn a song on the drums, I listen to the bass. Because truth be told, we know what the drums is doing. That backbeat is going to always be on 2 and 4, especially if it's like a pop song, something poppy, straightforward. We know the drums is going to be where it's going to be at 2 and 4 at all times. The groove is locked in. What I need to do first, what I like to do, is listen to that bass. Listen to the bass. Just keep on listening to that song over and over and over to where I'm like humming it from note to note. Okay. So now when I go to practice the song on the drum kit, I already know the bass line. So now I'm not playing the drums. That's how it was recorded on the record. Now I'm playing the bass drums to how I know the bass line.
Yeah, so this explains why when we started playing together, he would play because I would run the bass without really knowing I would play bass on my left, and you would follow my left.
Yeah. So the drums and the bass, hand in glove. Like the drums and bass got to be tight. They got to be in sync. Sometimes when you hear musicians and you're like, the band was 9 times out of 10, it's because the drums and the bass
we're jiving.
Nope. So and that could just be how I personally feel about it, because with my dad and me being bass and drums. So and my dad, he was hard on me on the drums. Like he was like, listen to my bass line, keep up with me. So like when I'm 6 and 7, I was dragging. It was like, pick it up, speed it up, and then, but at the same time, he will just give me like lectures, like to and from practice. He'll just put on, some music, and he'd be like, listen to the drums, listen to the kick drum, and listen to the bass line. Because like, especially with gospel music, that kick drum has to match the bass line.
He's teaching me. I didn't. Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes in secular music, especially like with hip hop, you give it a little bit of space, but it still has to be in sync, But like in gospel, it's like boom, 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 boom. So I had to do. I had to do that. I had to match that bass
because the bass line's doing that.
Yep.
With the kick.
Yep. And that's what made it tight. So when you put it in your stereo system.
Yeah.
Whether it be your home or your car, it would just
pump.
Yeah. Now, when I started playing secular music, the first year, trying to play in the clubs and in the bars, all the musicians was like, "Sound like you got a church drummer."
Cause you did.
And so then I had to realize that, okay, so now I don't have to necessarily be so tight with the bass. Now I get to like maneuver a little bit along with the bass line.
Okay.
Sometimes I can catch like your vocals, you know what I'm saying?
No. So you actually used to play to my breath. Like I would take these
long
breath.
breaths.
Like I did this. Like I'm very dramatic.
Yeah.
And he would literally follow, and then because I didn't know where 1 was, so I would just start when I felt it.
Yep.
And he would watch me, so he's like, when she feels it, I feel it. When he go into it.
Yeah.
And that because I realized that was actually like Fred was letting me lead and wasn't forcing me. You never forced me
on the one.
Never forced me on the one.
Yeah, no.
Didn't even act like it was weird. Like then I found it like later we would get different bandmates. They're like, Renee, what do you do? What time are you in? I'm like, it's Renee time.
Yeah, it is. It was Renee time. And but then I remember, I never forget, like you played with my mentor and my good friend Larry Scott.
Yeah, Larry.
Love you, man. And
I love playing with Larry.
Yeah. And
he'd bring out more drum equipment than you would.
Oh.
He'd come out with all the bells and whistles. I'd be like, Freddie's putting you to shit.
Yeah. Oh, Larry.
And he'd be the king of the like.
Larry. Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I've had my green sparkle kick came from Larry's.
No.
You know, so we hit each other up. We talk about drums and everything all the time, but it's just one of the things where it was like after you done a show with him, and you was like, Fred, why you didn't tell me about the one? And music is about your personal expression. Like,
yeah,
why?
That's how I felt it was.
I couldn't, and maybe I didn't. Maybe that's something on my end, and I'm sorry.
No,
no. It's just one of the things where it's like, I just didn't tell you when to come in. No, you the one who wrote the song. I asked you if I could play with you.
That is true. And I also said no. So like, maybe that's why Fred didn't tell me where the one was. He's like, I'm walking on eggshells with this one. I was like, she said no. Convinced her to say yes. I can't tell her where one is. I think I went too far already trying to get into this situation. So no, I wasn't mad about it. I just remember, I don't know who brought it to my attention. I just remember at some point realizing that there was a metronome that people usually work off of, which is silly because I grew up in classical piano where the metronome. I had the one where with the and the thing, and it would.
Oh yeah, the OG, the original.
I had to set that to the tempo, and then I had to play to that thing. So, and maybe I was traumatized by that because I never liked being forced, and then plus, I love silence, and so I would take these like. I'd pause and there was no metronome in my head. So I was just like, I'll start now. And so now it could have been whenever.
Yeah.
It could have been when the audience was done. Like sometimes I held on to it. I'm like, are they listening? Because we played for restaurants when it was like loud and plates clanging and like, we're playing. It's like, is anyone listening? And so sometimes I would take these like pregnant pauses just to be like, is anyone out there? Did they notice we stopped?
Right.
Did we notice I haven't started singing again yet?
Yeah.
And sometimes they didn't. But I mean, like your drumming, the fact that you came from that, now I see how that worked into what I was doing so seamlessly because he was comfortable following a bass or following my voice or following, a pause. Like you were used to following.
Yeah. And there, it depends on the people, everyone has their own approach to their instrument. And, there are some that I try to,
emulate.
No, well, not the ones I'm on stage because there's tons of drummers that I try to emulate, and that'll be another podcast. It'll just be me.
We'll get there. No, I'll be like, I'll be over here.
It'll just be me. Okay, how much time we got? Shoot. All right, so these are all the drummers that I
look them up.
20 minutes later, still name them.
Yeah, talking about what they've done. You follow them on Instagram. Follow them on Instagram.
But the ones I was speaking like the on band, on a show or anything like that, there's been times where it's like, how was that show? It's like, it was okay. Meaning that I couldn't gel with, I felt off.
It wasn't, yeah.
I felt off. But then the ones that are like, oh man, where you come from? It's like, man, where you come from? Like, why haven't we played with each other? And that's because you meshed immediately, you gelled, everything's in sync. So that's the beauty of playing.
That's why we can't get it out of our system.
Yeah.
I mean, to really quick hit on this, like when we first started playing, at first I was like, if I don't make it by 35, I quit, Fred.
Right.
He's like, all right, because I was 30 at the time. I was like, we got 5 years, let's do this.
Uh-huh.
And then I got to 35 and I was like, yeah, I can't quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't made it yet, but I can't quit. It's like, you can't. We always said there's like a music-sized hole in our heart that has to get filled, and we fill it by rehearsing and, you know, creating. Like, we're like getting to writing, like, and it's this deliberate, like, you have 2 day jobs. I have, you know, this crazy other, you know, day job, but we still carve out that time because it's like we come here and it's like, it's literally like a
yes
you know, and then like what I'm itching for is the creative, like I'm like, I want to write, you know, like, so I'm sending Fred like ideas, but it's like, we've got to force ourselves to carve the time out to do it. Because that's the thing about an art, for an artist that's working while they chase their art, is that you've literally got to force the time for it, because otherwise life would never make the time for it.
You know, and speaking to one of my older cousins, you know, over the weekend, and I'll just tell you, like, you know, just, what is this flying around me? Make it act like I ain't never taken a shower today or something.
It's because of the wine. Got a fruit fly in his face.
But I was saying, you know, to get more into the creative space, because let's face it, drums are loud. You know, a lot, and the free time that I have at the house is when everyone's asleep. So I just can't roll up at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night banging on the drums.
No.
You know, so I was just telling my cousin, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to just hook up a little, my MIDI keyboard that has that, and put some bass lines on it. And just so I can start creating. That way, if it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, I put my headphones on. I got a party in my headphones.
Yeah, ain't nobody else can hear.
But to the rest of the house, it's like this. And that's the coming from the drums, and I want to hear my acoustic drums echo off the walls.
Oh, listen, this is why when we rehearse here, Fred beats those things like he's straight up.
Yes, because it just sounds good. It just sounds good just to release the work stress.
It's also, that's the thing. It's just,
it just, you know, sometimes this doesn't do it, but in our other podcasts with real estate, go back and check that out. About compromise.
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna have to compromise not having the thought of banging on my drums in the house all loud, to just let me just go to a little 25 key keyboard and create my music in my MIDI and put my headphones on and send it you know.
And then I'll go back and play. Well, that's what. And I said to Fred, I was like, we can't get frustrated because it's such a process. Like we're working it's like we're working our way through everything, you know. And really the secret, if you're listening to this and you're a musician, as long as you're making effort, you're moving like that,
forward. I don't like being stagnant.
No, you like do something new, try something new, move in a new direction. Like Fred and I are going to do the first show together in like less than 2 weeks. By ourselves in this space, just because it's, you know, let's keep our performing chops up. Let's keep, you know, and then so, you know, tonight we're going to focus on that. But I want to go home tomorrow and Saturday and finally write that song. So when I go to the homestead on Sunday, I can throw it to you and be like, create some really cool bass line, please. And then you can go to like and like put it, because I mean, I can hear bass line. This is also just staying in your lane. Like I don't need to play every instrument. I don't need to know how to play every instrument. I write lyrics, I write piano, and I can sing. I need to do that and then give it to somebody else who can add their piece to it. And then pass it to the producer who can make it sound amazing. You know, so we just have to get a routine going.
And it's for me, it's just been a tough pill to try to swallow, to be like,
I can't use my drums.
I'm going to have to do this, and I'm going to have to do it digitally to keep the creativity.
And every digital drummer is out there going, "What's wrong with that?"
Yeah. I know.
Because there's digital drummers.
Yeah. And the ones who are,
literally
again, the younger
finger
ones,
drummers. That's what
they're doing.
Yeah.
But the ones who are, probably around my age,
we like
and older,
acoustic. We still like the acoustic.
Man, it's something about. It's almost like when. I don't know what it would be for women. I don't know, like getting a new purse and
new shoes,
or
new outfit,
new
hair.
It just when you get so you have the drums and you go shopping and you get like the drum heads, and you take them out and you just you put them on and you're tuning them and they just look so good and they're fresh, and especially if you got coated heads and you can feel the texture.
Ooh. Little plug for a company over there. Sponsor friend.
Yeah, right. But it just I miss, not that I miss, I still do it, but it's that whole experience.
You want to stay, yeah.
And so now to think that I don't have to go through that, which is saving me tons of time, but now I can just do something on a MIDI keyboard.
But you gotta think of it like this: it's just the creation process. When we go to do that, it will be done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's remembering the process.
Yeah.
Because I still look. At least you've got a drum kit. Yeah. I'm still trying to get my white Steinway. Because I have not. Piano players don't usually get to play real piano.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're expensive.
Yeah.
And keeping them in tune. And the sound, So, I mean, I get that, though. Mm-hmm. Like, when I sit down to an actual piano, I'm like, yo.
So, I was...
And I'm not even, like, that great at piano.
Yeah. So, I was telling my wife, I was like, when you walk in people's homes and you see, like, the baby grand or you see, like, the upright piano, and it looks perfectly fine in the living room. It looks... No one bats an eye. But you know what I'm going to do?
You're going to have a drum kit.
You daggone right.
Oh, he's going to have a drum kit. I thought about that when you were saying that. Like, you walk into the living room, there's like the fireplace and the nice couch and a drum kit.
A drum set.
The thing is, people don't usually come in and sit down and just listen to someone drum. They do come in and sit down and listen to someone play piano.
Well, times are a changing. You'll come in my house, you ever
heard me like this? Look.
Oh, you're not feeling that? Oh, fine. Not feeling that? Okay. Not feeling that? Okay. Well, you're going to have to get on out.
Go home. Go home.
No, I know what you're feeling. Oh, okay. All right.
Because you can add the synth and the piano and everything all
Yeah.
Man, Fred, thank you for taking the time to share that. Yeah. I think it's so cool to hear artists' backstories.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the backstories, I mean, you got to figure decades of material for artists. You never hear the whole, you're never hearing the whole story. You're always catching just some of it.
Yeah.
So.
And, and I'm pretty sure if we do this again, more of those stories are going to come out on both sides. I
know. We'll get to my past next time. But I wanted to hear all about more about Freddie J. So all right, so it's Fun Fact Friday. Fun Fact Friday. Okay, so I actually looked it up because Chad usually does these, and we did the real estate one for her. Like, what's so this is pretty crazy. And when you listen to everything Fred does during the day, everything I do in the day, and then that we're also musicians on the side, this might make sense. But if you didn't know, musicians, generally speaking, have a shorter lifespan than the rest of the population. So I was like, is it because we're constantly chasing like that and the day job and the kids and the life and
then you go, then you have your shows and you go on tour and then you come back to your family and you all that.
Are we living so much? Are we just living so much of life at once that we shorten our lifespan than the people that do the 9 to 5 and go home and chill?
Yeah.
Because we don't do the 9 to 5 and go home and chill.
Yeah.
We go.
Yeah.
But you made a good point. He's like, not all of them.
Not all of them.
Tell that to Dolly Parton. Tell that to Keith Richards. Tell that to Mick Jagger.
Mick Jagger.
Tell that to
Willie Nelson.
Well, oh yes, he's still going.
Mm-hmm.
Good on him. So we're gonna be those guys. Though.
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
be those guys. We're just, to be fair, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
So stay tuned because there'll be more of this in the future. Cheers.
Later.